Well,
Remember to
so
turn
out
it
of
back
it.
on.
I need to take a nap really bad.
I think you want to visit my house someday.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Just to read shit about why it happens.
Okay, one more time on the test, guys.
My name's Phil, and I play bass.
My name's Reed, and I play drums.
Carl.
Okay. This is Pure Rock Talkback. Mike Stark with you on a Sunday morning, and we're joined via tape in studio with Corrosion of Conformity. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man.
I made the big...
Muy bueno.
Yeah, good. I made the big mistake a couple weeks ago of introducing your song on the show as a song from a new band, and the phones lit up, and I was quickly corrected on that. What is the history of the band?
Well, Reed probably could answer that best. He's been around since the onset. That was 9.5 years ago.
Uh-huh. Well, there we go, 9.5 years. We're not new at all by any means. We started out as a punk rock band, knee deep in the hardcore punk rock scene.
It was Woody and Reed in a basement in high school.
Yeah, doing like Minor Threat and Discharge covers and stuff like that.
Right.
It was great because, like, the great thing about punk rock and hardcore, there wasn't any kind of like prerequisite of ability. You could just kind of like play and like make noise and stuff. And so that's kind of what we used to do back then.
So musical influences would be?
Oh, man.
Now or back then?
Back then.
I guess
some of the ones
they're kind of still the same. Like Black Flag and Black Sabbath were like two of the biggest, but I mean, there's billions, I guess.
Okay.
Deep Purple, Bad Brains, and the list goes on, man.
It goes on.
Yeah.
So a lot of different influences then.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys are unique in this field of music. You seem to be a little bit more politically aware of what's going on than a lot of bands in the metal and hard rock scene. You have voter registration set up in the lobbies of your shows, correct?
Well, it would be wrong to say that we've had that every show, but tonight for sure, or tonight, this is pre-recorded, but...
Right.
The show Thursday night.
Yeah, the LA show with Excel that hopefully some of you came to and enjoyed or whatever, or some of you missed or whatever. Yeah, tonight.
And do you make a habit of doing that?
It's a good example. We want to have voter registration at all our shows, but it's representative of the fact that it's hard to get people registered in this country. They make it hard to get registered in this country because the politicians don't want to have to campaign to a lot more people because it's going to cost them more money and time to get to a whole bunch more people. So it's hard to get people registered, and it's hard to get registrars to shows. So you know, at big shows we've been able to get it happening, but like tonight. But
that was
majority of the time.
That was my next question. Was voter registration varies from state to state as to the rules,
and it can vary from city to city. Like,
is that right?
In the first one of the first primaries they had in New Hampshire, it varied from city to city, which is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that I mean, somebody who represents the nation is you know, they have this kind of division, you know, divide and conquer kind of mentality. And
well, they don't want people our age to register and vote because people like us, you know.
Can you imagine what it'd be like if just any one of us could walk up and just hit that lever? I think it'd be a different system, a different country right now.
It'd be a completely different government if people our age all voted, man. It'd be a much cooler place.
Which brings us to Vote with a Bullet.
That's it's off the album Blind, the new album, and it's our second single, second video, and as a matter of fact, we just did it with a really great director. His name's Eric Meza, and his last video was By the Time I Get to Arizona, which was a pretty damn timely song.
Yeah, that was the Public Enemy tune where they kill everybody at the end.
Which is essentially Vote with a Bullet. But yeah, he was into what we were doing, and we liked him a whole lot, and it worked out great, man. And it's about to come out, so look for it.
So Vote with a Bullet and voter registration. Where's
We're
the
saying
tie-in?
register, man. We're saying
is that
flatly
okay.
register. I mean, you know.
Well, what it is it's there's a whole lot of frustration on our side, and the American tradition of democracy has this kind of violent underbelly since the onset, since the first pioneers set foot and pretty much raped this nation, or what wasn't a nation until they made it so, and. What we're saying is there's when you lock people out of the process, when you make it hard to register, when you make it hard for people to be a part of a democratic system, don't be surprised if there's some kind of backlash, and that's just how it goes, It's unfortunately that's part of an American tradition. Look at JFK, look at Bobby, look at Martin Luther King, look at Malcolm X, look at all that,
So, in traveling around the country, you're working with Rock to Vote specifically.
Rock the Vote.
Rock the Vote.
Well, we're going to do a PSA, a commercial, with them tomorrow. Like I said, we're trying. Rock the Vote would have been the ones that would scheduled and arranged the voter registration stuff at the shows, but it's really hard to do it on a smaller level like this. It worked really well with the Lollapalooza thing because there was tons of people there.
Right.
But,
you guys are based in North Carolina.
Raleigh.
Correct?
Yeah,
Raleigh?
the capital.
Greatest state in the union.
Home
One
of
of 50.
Home of one of the bigger rock fans in the world, Senator Jesse Helms.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments on?
Perfect target.
Senator Helms.
Register
I
those
think,
sites, man.
Senator Helms is like a symptom of the problem. The problem
Exactly.
in this country, and I get it. When you talk about like history and stuff like that, all throughout history, you've got this like group of people. Well, how I see it, you can break down the world into like there are a lot of people are, pretty cool, just want to get on with their own lives and do their own thing. Then you have this group of like, jerks who want to control everything, and they always will, no matter what form of government you have. It's kind of like throwing diarrhea into the water. It'll float. You know what I mean? It'll float to the top. But the thing about the American system is that theoretically, with all the checks and balances and the people electing the government, it's supposed to be the one that has the least amount of that sort of thing going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Jesse Helms is in office because there are a lot of people in this country who want him there. You know what I mean?
It's the big
and
influence game, man.
He could be from anywhere else.
It's kind of an illustration of your point. If rockers and people of like minds got together, Jesse Helms would not be there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't take much. It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, one phone call can change a whole lot. And the more of us doing that and getting together, man, we could move mountains.
One thing that people have to, the people who are left leaning have to do is to stop being so uptight about their little, isms and whatnot, and band together.
Get on with it.
The Nazi element in this country is extremely mobilized. They've got tons of cash behind their causes and tons of media resources to spew their drivel to the public. You know what I mean?
But I mean, don't get confused with Phil saying the Nazi movement. I mean, when we call conservatives Nazis, so
Right.
So I mean, some people might
you
call
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The Nazi element in this country, which
the
Jesse
right wing
Helms
in
is-
general.
Yeah.
Which brings us to music censorship.
I mean, Jesse
Yeah.
Helms. There you
Man.
go. I mean, he's one of the main contributors.
This guy wants to, remove the NEA, him and Pat Buchanan and a whole slew of other,
Nazis.
quote unquote Nazis. But that's what they want to do. They don't believe in that culture should be something that the United States government endorses, which is kind of sad. Instead, we choose in this country to endorse war and so-called drug wars and so-called whatever.
To me, it's absolutely, it's almost obscene when you think that sex, two people getting down on a movie is rated X and it's illegal to show to a minor.
Yeah, but you can see
you can see someone getting hacked apart with a machete, or some
On
chick
prime
getting
time.
her teeth
Yeah,
pulled
on
out with a
CNN.
pair of pliers. Yeah. And that's entertainment. And this culture worships violence and killing and is afraid of sex. It's so uptight and so twisted. It's no wonder that things are the way they are.
And many states are trying to pass legislation that would outlaw music, basically.
Well, it would outlaw free speech. When we were in D.C. a few months ago, I went to this thing in the Smithsonian Institute. It was really, really, really pointed. It was this huge exhibit of artists like composers, sculptors, painters, writers, who were banned in Nazi Germany in the mid and late 30s. And, you know, you could go in there and listen to the music and, you know, these little schmaltzy little German pop songs from the 20s and 30s and stuff. But they were, you know, it's really harmless. But they were considered, like, subversive and whatnot, and they were banned, and these people were imprisoned, put in concentration camps for art and things like that, you know? That's because deep down inside, the Nazis or, you know, Stalinist communists and Jesse Helms and people like that, deep down inside, they know that they're completely full of shit, and that the only way they're going to get anyone to agree with what they do is to force them at gunpoint to do what they want, which is, you know, like communist countries forcing people to stay there, or they used to, whatnot, and the law forcing you to register for the draft, you know what I mean? Or forcing you to do this. They know that it goes against basic human nature.
I think with censorship, though, when you're bringing up that, it's a definitely threatening thing to, especially what we do nowadays. I mean, you look, 5 years ago, the PMRC obviously got really huge, and they had all those stupid ass hearings, and they made a big point of being able to sticker records. Well, it's gone. I mean, to me, that was offensive for some fat fuck, white Anglo-Saxon male, 65 plus, trying to put his fucking moral thoughts on what is obscene and what is not. He's gonna judge me and judge my art or whatever the fuck. Anyway, it's gone past stickering now, and now it's gone to the point where they're printed on albums.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's a definite foot in the door.
And the sticker is being used in certain states as a guideline as to what can and cannot be sold to minors.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it comes down to the ultimate censorship is economic, and that's where people have the ultimate powers with the almighty dollar, you know. And if you don't have the sticker, you're not going to be allowed to be sold through the bigger chains in the United States.
Right.
And
so do you guys have a sticker on yours?
no, we don't. And as a matter of fact, we refused a sticker. We made a big stink about that. We had a long talk with our record company, and everybody was very reasonable on our end. We decided that we would cross out those words ourselves.
On the lyric page.
On the lyric page.
But not censor them on the record itself.
Yeah, and just kind of... it's kind of like suicide. You kind of cheat fate. You have the ultimate control.
What I think is that really there's a sinister undertone to all this censorship thing. This isn't about just censoring sexual and violent whatnot images. It's about censoring free thought. So basically, our idea was to basically call their bluff. You know what I mean? By writing out by the word fuck or whatnot, just crossing it out on the lyric page, we would want to see what reason they would have then for putting a sticker on the record. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this record endorses, you know, some kind of anarchistic, dope-smoking, free-thinking, you know, orgiastic whatever.
Orgiastic.
You know what I mean?
Sounds like fun to me, guys.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
It's infiltration in the way we look at it, than the way we're not stickered, because now we can get into any store, you know.
Do you expect any backlash from that?
Yes.
What?
You do.
Yes, we expect it, and we welcome it, actually. We're waiting for it to happen. I hope it happens soon.
Great. We're limited on time. I have a few other... still on the censorship issue, do you have any personal censorship stories on the road or anything along those lines? Anything happen in your shows that...
Should have been censored?
Yeah.
Not
Remember
necessarily.
that night when...
No, as far as the authorities cracking down on the stage show?
No, man, the only thing I could remember is we played Fayetteville one time, and I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but it just shows what people know and what people don't know. We're from North Carolina, and North Carolina is the home to many military bases. And I'm not necessarily down on anybody who's joined the service, because people do it for various different reasons, economic and whatever. But,
and self-discipline, too.
And the thing is, these guys, we played in Fayetteville, and a whole bunch of Army guys came down.
Yeah, that's the home of Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg, and this guy was like, man, my buddy can't come, and he really wants to come see you. And I was like, well, why doesn't he come? Well, he works for Intel. And I said, what's that? The Army Intelligence.
The CIA.
The CIA, basically. They're not allowed to come see COC because you guys are on the seditious list.
So you guys are on a list somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
we're on
and
definitely.
proud of it, right?
The
We must be doing
FBI
something right.
Yeah, that's right.
The FBI keeps tabs on everyone. If you've ever signed a petition in your life for any kind
You
of
own it.
left-wing cause, you're on it.
Wow.
You most definitely are on it.
So don't forget there's
The
stuff going on there that
The Nazis are going for it, so you might as well start
you
going
best
for
be
it, too.
aware of,
Which brings me, I got two more quick questions.
Okay.
One of them is, and I think it's obvious the answer, but should politics and music mix? Should there be a mix of that? We don't see much of that, as we talked about earlier.
Man, why should there be any rules on anything like that? I mean, if you want to do it, do it. And if you don't, don't. We're not down on people who don't combine that kind of thing or fuse those elements. But for us, it's like we can't go to sleep at night or at the end of our lives, we're not going to be comfortable having. I think I'm speaking for everyone. Is that we come out of that whole punk rock background of speaking our mind. And at the end of the day, if we haven't said something, that's bad in my book. Man.
Well, dude, I thought rock and roll was supposed to be about rebellion from the first place anyway, and we're talking about rebelling against something bigger than your parents, you know what I mean? We're talking about a serious evil in this fucking country.
In this world.
One final question. We sort of touched on it. Why is it important for rockers to get involved in the system and register to vote
Well,
and vote?
regardless of whether
Music
they're
is
a
really
rocker
influential,
or
man.
whatnot, everybody should. Everyone who's a voting age in this country should register and vote. I used to think that voting never changed anything, and that because I was grew up poor and all that, and never felt like I had any kind of voice in politics or whatnot. But then you start to realize that you have to choose between the lesser of two evils, and what's going on right now is definitely mega evil, and everybody needs to do their part. Everybody needs to register and vote for whoever is not George Bush.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, you figure the people that are making the laws, the people that are fucking with your civil liberties in this country, you have control of you have a given right from the Constitution of how to get those fuckers out of there, and it's to vote. It's easy.
Okay. Thanks, guys. And again, the invitation is open whenever you're in town and can make it to the show live. We will take on the audience at that point.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
Thanks.
Ready.
Take care.
Dude.
Take care.